All right, everyone, welcome to the praise party. It's child therapist Mr. Stu, and today we are talking all about how to give praise to children. We're going to talk about the two different types of praise, why both are important, and we'll also talk about some very specific and tangible ways that you can give each type of praise to your child each day. Oh, my sweet potato fries are ready. But before we jump into the praise party, let's talk about just a few things. First, if you have not yet, make sure to subscribe to Mister Stu TV on YouTube and YouTube Kids. It's youtube.com/@MrStuTV. There you can find all sorts of different videos, whether it be the replays of these Facebook Live events, as well as some different episodes for children regarding tough emotions. We say that we make tough emotions child's play. So if you haven't yet, make sure to head over to youtube.com/@MrStuTV, and you can find more there to start and spark discussions with your little one about mental health. Also, in 2 weeks, on June 25th at 2 p.m., I'll be doing another Facebook Live. That one is called The Journey to Healing. And I'll be discussing childhood trauma, just the differences that happen in the brain of children who have gone through childhood trauma, or in the brains of people who underwent childhood trauma. And we'll talk about some ways to support the people that we love that have been through childhood trauma as well. So make sure you're back for that. But today we are talking about giving praise to children. The two types of praise, why both are important, and how you're going to give both of these types of praise to your child. This actually, this concept is one that is talked about all the time in children's mental health, but there is an accredited curriculum that is all about preventing child abuse. And it talks about giving praise to children in some specific and tangible ways. That curriculum is called Nurturing Parenting. If you are interested in more parenting skills or in parenting groups or classes, you can search for Nurturing Parenting online and find different places where you can go and learn even more skills, even on top of giving your child praise. There's all sorts of things about how to have positive discipline with children and how to really listen with children and make sure that they understand that you're listening. Those types of things. So if you're interested in more of that, make sure to check out Nurturing Parenting. It's a great resource. It is so important to praise kids for so many different reasons. There are some psychological benefits. There's actually some different wirings that happen in the brain and that can help children connect with themselves as well as the world around them and with you. If you will praise them, children connect with people who praise them more often. So there are those psychological benefits. Then there's also just the idea of building self-esteem and confidence. There are so many times where I'm in my therapy office and I will say something nice to a child, or I will compliment them on something that they did well, or something that is just so special and amazing about who they are. And you can see this little smile start to come up on their little faces. It's something like this. And I will look at them and I'll say, it's okay to smile. It's okay to smile about that. You are amazing. Or it's okay to smile about that. You did a great job building some of that self-esteem. And then if children have been praised for something, it's likely that they'll remember that they've taken care of that thing before if they face it again. And so it gives them confidence to believe and understand that they really can overcome different things. It gives them confidence to step into new situations because they're comfortable with who they are. It gives them confidence to overcome problems because they've overcome them in the past and they were recognized for overcoming those problems. Confidence is built by giving praise to children. It also encourages positive behaviors in children. There is a ratio, it's termed the golden ratio, where it's not about math or anything like that, but this ratio is a parenting ratio or a child care ratio, where for every one negative statement you make, or a statement of consequence or a statement of correction, you need to offer five statements of praise to a child in order for them to still feel balanced. So there's that 5-to-1 ratio. Now the numbers people kind of debate. Some people say it's 7-to-1. Some people say it's 9-to-1. Some people say it's 45-to-1, whatever. A lot of research says that it's 5-to-1, that for every one consequential statement or every one corrective statement for a child, you need to give them 5 praise statements in order for them to feel balanced, in order for them to really feel like they're making progress and that they can overcome different things. They need that 5-to-1. Think about that. Is that you? Are you doing that with your child, with your children, or with the children who are in your care? Or are you someone who leans much more heavily into those corrective statements? Praise is so important for so many reasons. If children are constantly just corrected, then their self-esteem goes down. They feel like they can't do anything right. And their confidence goes down too, that they would even know how to handle different situations. They feel like, well, I never get it right, so I might as well just not try. And their confidence goes way down. So remember that 5-to-1 ratio. For every one corrective statement, you need to give 5 positive statements. It is so important that children receive more praise than criticism. Because, again, if they are receiving more criticism, then they'll be more critical of themselves, and they'll be less confident in their abilities because they feel like they just can't get it. There are 2 types of praise, and we'll talk first about the type of praise that is most common, or the one that you probably hear about the most or hear the most, and that's the praise for doing. This is the praise because of something you did. It's for an accomplishment. You won the game, you got the award, you passed the test, whatever it might be. It's you did a good job at this thing. It's because of something you did. I'm proud of the thing you did. There are celebrating accomplishments, whether that be, like I already said, the awards or the trophies or the certificates or the honor roll or just a nice note. They did something, and you are now praising them because of that something they did. This is an important piece of praise, just like what I was talking about with confidence. Praise for doing, praise for accomplishing different things is so important because it tells kids that they can accomplish things, that they don't have to be overly critical of themselves because they believe that they've done good things before, so they can do good things again. That confidence goes way up with this praise for doing because of something they did. It's also important in this praise for doing to recognize effort and progress. That doesn't mean that everybody needs a trophy at the end of the season or a trophy for every game or whatever, but it does mean that you can say, hey, you're playing so much better now, or wow, look at how far you've come. It used to be that it was really hard for you to sit and do your homework at all, and now you did 10 minutes. Wow, that's so great. Recognizing that effort and progress, it might not be all the way where it needs to be, but you can tell that your child is working so hard to accomplish, or you can see that there's tangible and recognizable progress in what they've made. Recognize those things as well, that it's not just about the end goal, but that it's important to recognize the steps along the way as well. I want to be all the way here, but it's amazing because you started here and now you're here. Moving along, you can give that praise for doing before the final goal is accomplished. And that's important to keep kids going. If they are trying to pick up their room, you might want to praise them while they are picking up their room, because if you wait until the end, it might never come because they feel like it took too long. Or if they are working on their homework and they've been sitting there focused for a few minutes and that's really hard for them, maybe you praise them along the way so that they realize it's not just about this end goal, this perfection, or the 100%, but all the way along the way. If they were at 50%, now they're at 60% or 51%, then you can praise them for that because they have still accomplished something, even though it's not just the end goal. That's praise for doing. That's one of the two types of praise. The other type of praise is what's called a praise for being. And this is praise just because of who you are. It's those moments where you say, something I love about you is this. One of the reasons you're amazing is this. Not too long ago, I was at a family event and we were talking about Mister Stu TV and how things have been going and how it's been growing, and it's just been so great and amazing. And one of my relatives looked at my dad and said, "Aren't you just so proud of him?" And my dad looked back at them and said, "Yes, absolutely, but I was so proud of him before that because of who he is, because of who Stu is. I was just proud of him. I just am proud of him." And that made me feel so good to know, yes, it is so great that I'm accomplishing all these things, that things are going well. But even if they weren't, I'm still worthwhile. And that's the message that this type of praise sends, the praise for being. You can praise character traits about your child. You're such a good friend. You care about people so much. You do your best to be nice. You are just amazing for so many reasons. And you can give those specific character traits that you just love about your child. It's also a praise for acknowledging different emotions and feelings. Wow, you were angry and you handled that so well. You are just so great at handling your emotions. That's kind of a praise for being and a praise for doing put together. Or, oh, you know how to have a great time. If it's just been a fun time, maybe you just got finished playing a game with your child, it's not about, oh, you won the game, or oh, you were such a good loser when you lost the game, whatever it might be. It's just, oh, you are so much fun to be around. Oh, you tell the best jokes. Oh, you make the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Whatever it might be, you can give your child praise for just who they are. Oh, you always know just what to say. Oh, you care so much that I'm feeling good. The praise for being just because of who you are. It's important that children receive this type of praise. This is another type of praise that builds that self-esteem and that confidence. Definitely, praise for doing builds the confidence of, I have been through this before and I can get through it again. The praise for being builds the confidence by saying, I am a person who can get through things. The self-esteem of praise for doing comes from, oh yeah, I got the award. I am number one. Praise for being builds self-esteem by saying, even if I never win an award, I am still an amazing person. So it's important that children get both of these types of praise. The praise because of something they did, and the praise just because of who they are. Here are some ways that you can actually give this praise and some things to remember about the praise. Number one is to make sure that the praise is specific and genuine. There's always the example about if someone asks you, do I look good in this outfit? And they do not look good in the outfit. What do? Do you tell them that they do look good, or do you tell them the truth that you don't think that they look good? It's important that your praise of your child or of the children in your care is genuine. Children do see through it if all you're doing is blowing hot air. So it needs to be genuine. It should be something you truly do love about your child or about what your child did. And it should be specific. Not just, oh, you are cool. Oh, you are funny. But, you tell the best jokes. You are so nice. The way you paint is beautiful. The creativity that goes into your writing is amazing. The way you can focus and read is just, it blows my mind. Make that praise specific. Not just a general statement, but specific to your child and to what it is you're trying to praise them for. If you can do that, then it really reinforces that self-esteem and confidence in a child's brain. It's also important to balance that praise for being and the praise for doing. The praise for doing is usually the one that pops into your mind first because it's right there in front of you. The certificate, the award, the trophy, the medal, the grade, the finished product is right there in front of you. And so it's easy to say, oh, good job. Praise for doing. It's important to remember that praise for being, that children need to be told that they are just amazing for being them, for being around. In my office, I try to make sure that children hear that they are smart and handsome and beautiful and kind and funny and creative. It's important that children hear those messages. If they hear those things, and you can give them praise for doing, for a character trait. Oh, you are such a good friend. You helped your friend with their homework. That was so great. Wow, good job. So you can combine them. It doesn't have to just be one or the other, but it is important to make sure that children receive both of those statements. One, so that they know they can accomplish things, and then the other to know that accomplishing things isn't the only thing worthwhile about them. You can practice this. There's a few different things that you can do. You can become almost a praise detective where you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to hang out with my child for 10 minutes. And over that 10 minutes, I want to make sure I say 10 things that are just praise for them. And just be looking for things to praise them for, whether it be things that they're doing or just praise for who they are. If you'll do that, that can be an activity, a challenge for yourself. And if you'll do that, you'll make sure that you're giving your child some praise. All right, I know that tonight I'm hanging out with little Tommy, and little Tommy and I need to make sure that I tell Tommy at least 10 things that I love about him. Become that praise detective, constantly on the lookout for things to praise your child for. The next thing that you can try to do is to turn a negative statement into a positive statement. It doesn't mean that you ignore the negative or pretend that it doesn't bother you at all, but it just means that you can flip things on their head. Where, okay, you spilled the juice, right? So that's a negative statement. You spilled the juice, but maybe you can turn that into a positive statement. After you spilled the juice, you did such a great job of cleaning it up. Do you see how now I've taken this thing where I'm telling the child, hey, you did this wrong thing, to, hey, you made a mistake, but now you've turned it around. See if you can find those things where you can turn the negative statement into the positive statement. This is also a way that you can show that praise for progress on a child's goals. Maybe they tantrum every time you go to the grocery store, but this time their tantrum was much shorter. Rather than saying, oh, you always throw a fit in the store, maybe as you're leaving you can say, oh, I know that it was really tough for you in there, but you did such a better job today controlling yourself, controlling your behaviors than you have in the past. I really noticed that. Thank you so much for that. And that gives children incentive to keep growing because they're noticing that you are noticing. They see that you're noticing. See if you can turn those negative statements into the positive statements. The other thing to remember is that you will get more of what you pay attention to. So if you are giving many more critical statements than you are positive statements, it's likely you're going to see more critical behaviors or more negative behaviors to be critical of. Why is that? That's because children like attention. They like to know that their caregivers are watching them, whether that be good or bad. They just want to know that you're watching. And so if you are constantly being critical of them and you lack giving them praise, then it's likely that they will continue to do and do more often the things that you are critical of, so that they can check and make sure that you're still watching them. But if you constantly are praising them and ignoring the negative things as often as you can, obviously not anything drastic, but you're ignoring all the little negative behaviors and then praising them for every positive thing, then you'll see more of the positive behaviors. Why? Because children want to know that their caregivers are watching them. So if you're praising them for things that you're watching them doing, or praising them for things that you see in them, then they'll know, hey, when I do something good, my caregiver's watching me. Not, oh, the only time I ever get looked at is when I'm doing something negative, because then they'll do more of the negative thing. Do your best to remember that 5-to-1 ratio of, you need to make sure that you give children at least, that's a minimum, at least 5 positive statements for every 1 critical statement that you make. If you'll do that, you'll see many more positive behaviors than you will the negative ones. Make sure that you are giving children both types of praise, the praise for being and the praise for doing, and incorporate those things into your daily routine. Wake up, kids sitting down for breakfast, give them some praise. You see them again, give them some praise. Maybe you went to work, you come back home, give them some praise. Anytime you interact with your child, do everything you can to be that praise detective, looking constantly for things to be praising them for. Again, if this was something that you needed as a parent, if you needed to be reminded that praise is so important, then make sure to check out Nurturing Parenting. You can Google it. There may be classes and trainings and different things like that in your area soon. And if there are, then I'd recommend going out to them, because they can teach you all sorts of different skills that are just great and will help build the bond between you and your child, and it will make both you and your child stronger. Make sure to follow Mister Stu TV on YouTube and YouTube Kids. That's youtube.com/@MrStuTV. There we make tough emotions child's play. You'll also find the playback of each of these Facebook Live events that have taken place in the past, and the ones to come in the future, which the next one to come in the future is the Journey to Healing, where I'll be talking about childhood trauma, what happens in the brain when childhood trauma takes place, and how to support your loved ones who have dealt with childhood trauma. That's all for today. I hope to see you back again in 2 weeks. That's June 25th at 2 p.m. for the next Facebook Live, The Journey to Healing, where I will be discussing childhood trauma. Make sure you're back for that, and until then, spread the word and share the love. Bye-bye.